Tim Richman, author of Yeah Well No Fine, is joining me in studio. Thank you so much for being here with me on this beautiful day.
Great to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me and having me in.
Cool. Well, it's been a while since your last book, Is It Just Me or Is Everything Kak? And this book kind of follows the same structure, if you will. So why now?
It's been a while since I've written my own book, but I have been in the book industry all along. I'm actually in publishing, so I wear two hats. I've got a publishing hat and my writer hat. And the writer hat has been a bit quiet for a while, but I'm back.
And it's good to see you back.
Yeah, I'm back and out there. And yes, the first book was a bit of a sort of a kind of mad rant at the world and the way we see the world. This is more of a refined look at South Africa, in that I've refined my outlook on South Africa. And in the past it was, you had to kind of scream from the top of your lungs to be noticed, and you had to, declare what you didn't like, hence the title, Is It Just Me or Is Everything Kak? The title was controversial on its own. So this is perhaps toned down slightly, a little bit wiser, I guess. And the general idea that we've brought out in this book is that, or the conclusion, the theory behind it is that South Africa is bipolar. We're a schizoid country, and they're dizzying highs and depressing lows, and you've kind of got to celebrate both of them.
We're in it for the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be aware of both of them, you've got to celebrate both of them, and somehow they average out on this really crazy, awesome life in South Africa.
Well, the book is an A to Z guide.
Yes.
Now, what was the process like, kind of figuring out what you were going to write for each different letter?
It was an interesting process. It was similar to the previous book in that we've actually had this idea for quite a long time. And so something pops into your head, you're having dinner with someone, you're driving in the street, you're catching a flight, something pops into your head and goes onto my phone. And there's a title, and then it goes into a bigger Word document. And then sort of 3 or 4 months before we're due to publish, the writing process starts, and you already have this massive document. You've saved all sorts of research articles and emails from friends and just comments from friends, and suddenly you try and put it all together and get a book out of that. It's not a perfect process by any means, and it's very organic, I suppose, in that you don't really know what you're going to end up with. And a book like this, you have to wait very well. A lot of the books that I publish, or that my company publishes, it's about waiting things. So, you can't go funny, serious. It has to be a little bit of long, short, funny, serious. And so with A to Z, obviously some things have to be according to the letter, but sometimes you can fiddle around.
I love sugar.
Yeah, exactly. That could have been sugar. That could have been, there are various ways of playing them out. Some you have to put according to their letter. So for example, Jacob Zuma's in, and he's got to be under Z. I suppose you could have him under Jay-Z if you wanted, but he's also a brilliant way to end the book.
Yes.
So he becomes Zuma.
Yeah.
And also under Z we had Zapiro, Zilla, Zuma. So although it's very political right there, you wouldn't have them as 3 serious political entries.
Exactly.
And yes, so I guess that's a bit of a madcap review of the process. The process is a little bit madcap, and then it comes down to the serious couple of months of slogging it out. And there's a lot of leftover material.
Oh, really?
Yes.
For maybe round 3?
Possibly for a next book, we'll see.
Oh, very exciting.
No shame, man, or something like that. We'll see. We'll come up with the appropriate South African cliche.
Well, I want to thank you for writing the book, because I'm actually not from here, and it's my guide now to South African living.
Fantastic.
Yeah Well No Fine, you chose that phrase from that entry as the title. Why did you choose that?
Well, as you say, you're Canadian, so, and as you told me, you've been here for a year. And the idea behind the book was for South Africans born and bred, proper echte South Africans, to read the book and just get a slice of life and recognize scenes and situations. Hence the title, Yeah Well No Fine, which is very South African through and through. But at the same time, we wanted the book to, I suppose, serve as a guide, for people coming from overseas, but also that expat who comes back from London after a couple of years there, or is here on holiday, from Sydney or the US, Canada, wherever, and really maybe just get a little tear in his eye after he sees that title and goes, I'm back home. Yeah, well, no, fine, here I am.
Amazing. What are some of your favorite topics that you touched on in the book?
That's a good question. probably have to think about this one for a while. The two that I often talk about are up front under A, and this is getting back to what we were talking about weighting the book A to Z. So you have to have quite strong entries up front. And the two I like up front were African handshakes.
Yes.
Which is all about how
You're
you
like, what
shake
is
hands.
it?
Exactly.
It turns into this dance.
And you know, it's cross-cultural, it's complicated, there's potential embarrassment, who knows what's going on. There's so many options that you shaking hands, are you high-fiving, are you fist bumping? I really don't know. And this happens with friends who I've known for 25 years from school. You walk in and you go, ooh, and then suddenly he's got the fist out and you're doing the one-arm bandit shake. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So usually how's it guys? And, you know, type of thing. Or you put the handshake right out there. I like that particular entry. I thought it kicked the book off quite nicely. And also under A is Africa Time.
Yes.
Africa Time versus Western Time. And I thought that encompassed the book very nicely, what we were talking about earlier about the bipolar, schizoid nature of living in South Africa. There's Africa Time, which is, you know, things just happen. And then there's Western Time. And, you know, particularly, I guess, there were various good comparisons, but it's the Gautrain is Western Time, and your average minibus taxi is Africa Time.
Yeah.
Joburg is Western Time, Cape Town is Africa Time.
Definitely.
Yeah. So those were two favorites, but there are lots of entries, and those were just two off the top of my head.
Okay, so you touch on so many different topics. It seems like you cover everyone. So I mean, no one can feel left out. Is there any subject that you consider taboo and wouldn't write about?
That's another good question.
I'm full of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if I can put my publisher cap on just for a second, we publish other books such as The Racist Guide to the People of South Africa. Now, race is obviously a very tricky topic in South Africa, and you have to handle it very well. And what we like to do at Burnett Media, Two Dogs, the book imprint, is discuss these things, because they need to be discussed. I mean, race is a major issue in South Africa, and the only way we're going to ever deal with it, whether it's in a couple of years or 100 years or 1,000 years, is to talk about it. So I would like to say that there's nothing off limits in probably all the books that we do, but at the same time, what's funny is funny. Some things aren't funny. So there's, I would say that there's a line that you would draw where there's no point in putting something in the book just for the sake of putting it in the book.
Right.
Or for, you know, trying to be controversial. It's got to have a little bit of depth to it. So if you're talking about specific topics, I don't think so, but maybe elements within specific topics.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Well, for our viewers who are going to pick up this book and read it this month with us, what is your message to them? What should they keep in mind while flipping through the pages?
While reading it. I would like them to find the entry that they can go, I get that. That's what I'd like. I think that as a reader, you'll read it, and there'll be some entries that maybe go over your head, or you just don't get what we're saying, or you know, you don't get it. But hopefully you'll find something, or a few things, or every second page, something that just, you know, you get it. You can actually picture that moment. So that's what I'm hoping for. Whether it's on page 2 or 3, whatever it is with Africa Time, where you can do the comparison between the Gautrain and the minibus taxi, or between the Joburger who rocks up at 7:30 because the dinner event was for 7:30, or the Cape Townian who is hosting the event and people arrive at 7:30 and he says, "Whoa, man, you're early.
Yeah,
I just got out the shower.
Yeah.
You know, what's your problem?" So it's, I would like, if possible, for them to try and find that moment in the book.
I really enjoyed the carte blanche is bad for your health part.
How did we phrase it? Carte blanche induced Sunday night losers complex.
Yes.
Yes. It's sort of like a middle class phenomenon, I think. But especially if you've been out on a Saturday night and perhaps you're a little bit worse for weather the next day, and Monday's looming, and then how to make yourself feel just that much worse. Watch Carte Blanche. Yes. Maybe you've been there, and that's what I'm talking about.